Welcome to AudioPath, where we let you in on our experiences, insights, and real-life scenarios working in the music industry. I'm Trent, and I've been a studio owner and operator, a music venue owner and operator, and a musician.
And I'm John. I've been a mix engineer, mastering engineer, live sound technician.
And together, we've got 30 years of experience in the music industry.
Whether you're an artist, an engineer, or somebody who just really likes music, these stories are for you.
Come with us as we pull back the curtain of the music industry.
And let's take a walk down the audio path. Welcome back to the Audio Path podcast. Thank you for joining us today. My name is John. This is my colleague, Trent.
Hello.
And we are here today to talk about life in the audio industry, the music industry.
That's right.
Trent, what are we talking about today?
Oh, we got a hot one today.
Yes, we do.
We are talking about AI in music.
AI, artificial intelligence.
That's
in
right.
Music.
That's
This
right.
is a hot topic. We recognize.
So hot right now.
So hot right now. And we have some opinions of our own that we're going to share with you.
We do. We have some, I've got some general opinions about the whole thing, as I'm sure that most of you watching or listening do have as well. I've also got some firsthand experience working with it, which I think is going to be the crux and focus of this episode, and maybe what to expect for someone who hasn't been dabbling with it at all, and, maybe some things to look out for.
Yep.
So, what about you, John? Do you want to start us off with your experiences or your general thoughts about it? How about
Sure,
we'll
sure.
go there first.
I'm kind of two minds about this. And, I've talked with so many different people, between people who are artists and they live on that side of things, people who are on the side of things we live on, as engineers or whatever, people who have no idea about either side of that and they're just looking from the outside.
Yep.
I'm really at the phase now where I'm collecting opinions and I'm trying to do as much research and reading as possible on it. Because to start with, any form of new technology initially kind of excites me. I like new technology. I like when things progress. I like seeing what is now available that wasn't available before.
Yeah.
I've always been that way.
Okay.
I love the tech. So that's one side of it. On the other side, the more research I do, I wouldn't say I'm scared at all. That's not really who I am, but I am very concerned about some things.
Worried, so to speak, maybe.
Yeah. And just kind of like, worried is probably one of the emotions I feel about it. Another one would be definitely just a concern for the cost.
Okay. Yeah.
Of what we are giving to make this a reality.
Right. And you're not necessarily talking about monetary cost, right?
Right.
Talking about
Talking about a lot of other
a
things.
lot of things. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I live. Where are you living with this AI thing?
Yeah, man. I would say I'm in a similar position to where I'm kind of gathering my knowledge about it, and it's been around for a couple of years or more now, but it's just now starting to like hit home a little bit and be more and more a part of the conversations that I'm having with artists and other, engineer friends. And so in general, I wouldn't say that I'm excited about it. I'm maybe the opposite of you on that. I would say that I'm a little anti AI in music and maybe even in some other things. I don't know. But it just is, but I think I would be dumb to just completely block it out and ignore it. I think that's what I want to do, but I don't think that that's a wise decision. And I think that, it's not going anywhere at this point. It's kind of like we've opened the Pandora's box or the genie's out of the bottle, and it's not going to go back in. And so things are going to continue to progress with it. And I either need to get on board and try to figure out how to work with it, or maybe be left behind,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it's one of those that it's kind of like, I just need to buckle down and get with it. And I mean, another, this episode is not about this, but like immersive audio is another one of those things that it's like, all right, eventually I'm going to have to make a leap into that at some point, probably.
You mean like going into Atmos?
Yeah, Atmos and immersive. Yes, exactly. That's another thing in the field that's like, I'm not doing it currently now, but my ears to the ground, and I'm researching about it, and I'm trying to learn more about it within reason to when maybe the right time to implement it for myself is.
Mm-hmm.
And now, this is not about that. That could be a whole nother episode, but the AI is in that similar boat right now.
Yeah.
To where I'm not using it myself for the most part. Now I do have a project that I'm working on that is using it, which we'll get into that kind of story as well. But but yeah, I mean, in general, I don't care for it to be truthful. I think that when it comes to music, I have a hard time seeing any upside to it. It's one of those things to where like it doesn't feel real, right? And I'm all about like, authenticity and originality and trying to do things that, create music that comes from the heart or, from, somewhere in yourself that's means something to you, right? And I think that's what the best music that's been written and is out there has, right? It's something that it came from a real passion from someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were just able to share it really well, right?
Totally.
And I think that's what most people are looking for. And whenever I hear AI music and hear stories of people working with it, it's like, we're missing that part, Like, the thing that's scary about it is the quality is pretty good. At least coming from what I've heard. I mean, I think it's still noticeable that it is AI.
Yep.
But it's getting better and better.
Yeah.
It's a wild, wild west right now that we're living in.
Kind of is, man. Kind of is, yeah. I one thing I do want to clarify is I think I was walking through a trajectory. I'm not excited about it at all right now.
Okay.
Initially I was like, oh, this is cool. This is like a new technology. Let's dive in.
Right.
But everything you've said so far, I'm totally tracking with.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to be in on this. Yeah. Okay. I figured you were in other conversations we had in anyway. But yeah, I mean, any new technology, I get that. It is kind of like, what can it do? There's some intrigue there, but now actually seeing what it has done, I'm like, oh God.
For sure.
This is not good.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayday.
Yeah. I know you and I both have stories that we could share of our experiences with it so far, which, you know what, maybe we should just kind of dive into that.
Yeah, let's go straight into those, and then maybe we'll circle back around and how that impacts the way we think about it, maybe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Cool.
You want to go first?
Sure, yeah, I'll share a quick one. So there's an artist that I've produced several tracks for at this point, and admittedly, with this artist, I work kind of slowly. It's a genre that's not kind of like I wouldn't call it my wheelhouse, but we've done good work together. There's good rapport and everything, and all that to say, so he had me start working on a new project for him, a new song. And I have been, if you're listening sequentially, you know that I've been out on tour. So I've been basically unavailable to do studio things. And so I've just been super slow getting a finished product to this guy, but we never set a deadline or anything. It was like just kind of work on it as you can kind of deal.
Yeah.
So already kind of felt bad about that because I got to a place where I had done bass and drums and hadn't really been able to do anything else before I went on this most recent tour.
Yeah.
And, but right before that happened, he sent me this audio clip of a different song.
Okay.
That was and he was like, hey, I used AI to create this. Would love for you to listen to it or something like that. I don't know. So I listened to it. I'm like, Yep, that's an AI song,
Mhm.
like very much so.
Yeah.
But it was a full, it would have been a great demo. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In my mind.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Fair.
So, anyway, so then, this tour goes on or whatever. And I'd already had a conversation with this guy about, like, hey, just so you know, I'm really kind of sorting out where I am with AI right now. My gut reaction at this point in time is like, I don't really want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Because he had asked me I'm kind of getting the timeline mixed up, but he had asked me if I could take this creation that he had used or like gotten out of Suno
Yeah.
and fix it because it had like all these problems.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, dude, this is like, you just have one completed stereo track. There's nothing I can really do with this. Like,
okay.
and I was like, does Suno give you like all the tracks laid out? Does it give you anything that, an engineer could work with to try and fix some of these things that you're hearing? And he couldn't really answer that. There's like a stem splitter apparently, but that didn't really, I don't think that did what we needed or what he wanted to do or whatever. So
Yeah.
I kind of was like, well, there's not really anything I can do with this, But I still was working on this other song for him, and he was like, let's finish it. I go on tour, and like halfway through the tour, I get a text from him that's like, hey, man, let's just scrap that track. I'm going a different direction.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, like fully understand. I've been taking a long time with this. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But then he also released, he like sent like, a post out or whatever, and he released that song, and I guess he worked with Suno enough to get it fixed or whatever, and he released that song.
The one that you worked on the drums and bass on?
Not that one. The
other one. Okay.
The other one.
The other one.
And I was like, okay, like,
Okay.
that is what it is.
Well, you didn't get too far on that one.
I
so.
didn't, fortunately. And
Yeah.
he was kind about it. He was
Yeah.
like, I know you've worked some on this. Like, I'm happy to pay you for what you've already done. And I was like, nah, man, don't worry about it. Like, if we're not finishing a song, we're not finishing a song. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But it was the very first time in my career where I was like, I just got replaced by AI.
Yeah.
You know?
Whoa.
I just got replaced by AI.
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone, gang.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is real. Like
Yeah.
this is happening. This happens.
Took my job.
I took my job. Yeah. And so, that's my story. I've got takeaways from that story, to share, but I'm curious. I want to hear your story first.
Yeah. Okay. So, also a Suno situation.
Okay.
Which I think is probably the main one out there right now. All right. So let me roll it back to the start. So I get this email from the artist, and he basically was like, in his initial email, this is pretty common. And he's like, I've got these songs that most of the production is pretty much done. I just need to do vocals. He's like, I just need to record my vocals. Looking to book, He's like, I got quite a few, like 8 to 10 songs, like, definitely a solid day or so, or whatever you think, like session wise, like just trying to get some vocals tracked out. I'm like, okay. Not uncommon, right? They've worked on the tracks at home or elsewhere. Maybe they were working in another studio and got cut short for whatever reason, and they're picking the project back up, and this is where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, that happens, here and there. And so I'm like, okay, so I, respond accordingly as normal and ask a couple more questions about the tracks and, the project as a whole. Try to get to know the guy a little bit. And then in his second, it may have even been the third correspondence to try to figure this project out, he reveals that the instrumentation, when I started asking about the stems, he reveals that they're AI tracks. And I'm like, okay. And now at this point in time, this was several months ago, and this was my first encounter with anyone who is trying to use AI music and have me a part of it, right? And so I'm like, And I'm like, honestly, at that point in time, I was pretty intrigued. I was like, I'd heard of Suno. I'd heard of, what it has done. I've seen some videos of people actively using it and what it does. I'm like, okay, that's scary. That's wild. But I was like, I want to see what it's like in the real world firsthand for myself. And so I was like, I think I'm going to entertain this and take this project just as a learning experience for myself.
Nice.
Because I think this will be valuable to know what I could be, dealing with others in the future. So I did, and I was like, all right, well, tell me more about the tracks, because that's gonna really dictate the amount of time and cost that your project is gonna involve. And so he's like, I asked him if there's stems, and he's like, yes. He's like, I asked Suno to stem out the tracks, and I do have some stems for you. I'm like, okay, all right, that's good. We're going somewhere with this, right? And he's like, there are some issues with it. I'm like, oh yeah, what is that? He's like, I don't really know exactly how to describe it, but I'm just going to refer to it as like there's some glitches that happens whenever he's like, I have the stereo file, and he's like, and that thing sounds good. He's like, there doesn't seem to be any issues with it. But he's like, when I ask it to separate out the stems, each one of them has some sort of weird glitch in it at some point in the song. And he's like, so I definitely need to do the vocals, but he's like, I might need, to have you do some editing, and we might need to spend a little time editing and seeing if there's a way that we can fix this stuff. Sounds like you were on the cusp of getting there with your scenario, but didn't quite get there.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me rewind and let me talk about a couple different things like at this point of like what's going through my head. Okay. So at this point in time, I'm also thinking about like, okay, what are the copyright issues with this?
Yeah,
like
I wanted to talk about this one.
Yeah, like what's going on? Like he's doing this, like turns out he's got the paid version of this, which I think there is some difference in that. But he's like, what does this mean? And so I get him to he comes by for the first like session to which I already told him, I was like, we may not get to vocals. Like, let's just get these tracks in here. Let's see if there's anything I can do to edit them, and then we'll go from there, right? So he tells me a little bit more about his whole process. I'm trying to get to know him, and he said that he's a singer-songwriter. He moved to town like a year or so ago, and he doesn't really know any other musicians, and he's been using Suno as almost like his band or his like producer on the side to help him finish his songs. So so what that means is he's writing all of the music, like he's writing the guitar, he's writing the chord progressions on the guitar, he's writing the lyrics, he wrote all the words, he's writing all of the melodies for all of the vocals, right? So if you think about that, and he did a lot of research into this, which I appreciate, which I certainly would have done and have subsequently looked into a little bit myself to verify. But he was like, technically, copyright-wise, these are my songs. I'm like, okay, do tell. And he's like, the only things that are really copyrightable are the lyrics, the melody, and the chord progression. You can't copyright a drum beat, like... He's like, everything else that this thing is providing is just a reinterpretation of the same chord progression that I wrote. He's like, whether it generates a keyboard version, it's still my chord progression. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're kind of right about that, And so that right there, I was like, okay, so I'm not going to be like dabbling with any weird copyright infringement. So I was like, all right. I'll do it. I'll take the project and we'll see how it goes from there. So he brings the tracks in. I get them loaded into Pro Tools, and I'm like, I play it through, and first of all, sounds pretty good. I mean, like, you got to think about it. Like, it is basically pulling tones from every piece of recorded music in existence, right? So what it can do is incredible. It's wild. And like, I mean, is it sonically what I would choose for each individual instrument? Maybe not, but it doesn't sound bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad quality. Um, so now it's like, all right, the glitches. So I play the track through and I hear what he's talking about. So every once in a while, it's random. There's no like pattern to it. It's not, each song was in a different place, but it like dips out in like volume and it's embedded in the stems.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they do line up. So like where there is a glitch, it's on every single one of the stems.
Mm-hmm.
So editing it is very difficult unless the part is repeated and you can copy and paste from earlier or later in the song. It's very difficult to get rid of it. So you have to think of creative ways to cover it up or take that section out or something like that. So we basically had to do some real production on trying to figure it out. And like I said, so it comes back to he's a guitar player and singer mostly. So he's like, what about, he's like, I got my acoustic guitar. I was thinking about putting some extra acoustic guitar on this anyway. Most of the tracks that it made was drums, bass, keys, synth, and electric guitar. So it didn't really, there's like one song that it did produce acoustic guitar on, and he may have just asked it to do that. So we end up putting acoustic guitar on all of the songs pretty much. And that helped, excuse me, that helped cover up those glitches pretty well. So between that and re-recording the vocal, taking the AI vocal out, and then recording his real vocal on top of there, it's going pretty well as far as like removing those or getting by with those glitches in there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them happen seem to happen at the very end of the song. And so I'll just fade that one out, you know? Or the very beginning, which is like, can we live without the intro? It's like, yeah, it's not really that big a deal. Just go right into it. So there's been ways. And so that's kind of like what's going on. And then, but I'm talking to him and I'm asking him, like, so, like, how do you feel about this? Like, why, how did you get here? And like, what's been going through your mind while you've been doing this? Cause like, I'm like, you're a musician. Like you're, he's a little older. He's probably been, so what he told me was his band, 20 years ago or something had a pretty good run and he toured around for a while. And then he took like a hard career turn and didn't really play much and focused on that, his career for a while. And now he's coming back to music, right? So but he said all the while, he's like, I was still kind of writing songs solo. I just didn't have the, capacity to do that with my career. He's like, now I'm kind of at a place where I can focus a little bit more on music. So I'm like, all right, man. Well, like, how do you feel about this stuff? He's like, honestly, I can't afford to record the way that I used to. Like, it's expensive to, rent the studio and hire session players and, produce a whole album. And he's like, I can put my demos that I record on my phone, which is what I did, and of me playing and singing into Suno, and it spits back a full band track in 15 seconds.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And this has been kind of like the moral or ethical like battle for me this whole time with this project is like normally in this scenario, I would call my session guys and they would get work and it would be this big collaborative project and it would be a lot of fun. And they didn't get a call this time at all.
Yep.
Because he brought in the drums, he brought in the bass, So I don't know. I think, to be honest, like it may be a one and done thing for me. But I'm glad that I've done it because I've learned a lot from it.
Totally.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
There's the story.
There it is, man. I mean, I could be totally wrong on this and I could change my mind later, but I am currently prepared to say I don't ever want to work on AI music ever again.
Yeah, I'm basically so. Since then,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, this was several months back. Since that time, in between, I've gotten 4 or 5 other inquiries of people that have approached me saying, like, "Hey, I've mentioned Suno.
Mm-hmm.
They've got these songs of theirs, as they say, and they want to figure out how to, record their voice or do something with them and make them more their own." And I've turned them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I'm just like, I don't. Now, here's the slight distinction. Some of these other ones, or most of these other ones, I think, were I wrote the lyrics, I put my lyrics into this, and it spit back the song.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I'm like, you're way far into some copyright, like, gray area
Mhm.
right there
Yeah.
if all you put in was words.
Because the way that I
You know?
read, the way I read it is, looking at their terms of use and everything. If you pay for the paid version or whatever, is
Yeah.
soon, then you have well, let's take it this way. If you don't do that, you are contractually obligated not to use whatever it spits out for commercial use.
Mhm.
Right? If you do pay for it, then you can use what it spits out for commercial use. But that's a contractual obligation. That's not like a legal ownership question.
Right.
Right. Legally, anything that the AI creates cannot be owned,
Right.
is
Yeah.
the way that I read all this stuff.
That makes sense.
And, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I'm just a guy who's reading the terms of use agreement.
Right.
So,
Do your own research on that, but
yeah.
yep.
So it's like, if that's the case, then what that means is you don't own anything that it's going to spit out.
Yeah.
And so you can't copyright a
Right.
melody
Right.
that Suno spits out. It doesn't belong to anybody.
Right.
You can't copyright a chord progression that it spits out. It doesn't belong to anybody.
Yeah.
So
If anything, it belongs to Suno Company, right?
right. Well, I don't think they
Maybe.
actually own it. Though.
Maybe not.
I
Yeah,
think it literally doesn't get owned by anybody.
and that makes sense because it's pulling from everybody, kind
Which
of, so to
means-
speak.
Ding, ding, ding. Anybody can use it.
Right. So if you put it out there, someone else can just take
Right.
it. Yeah.
So this kind of leads me to a couple things that I want to say about AI. Number one, I think it's unethical in this sense.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of a hot topic thing to say. I think it's unethical in the sense that it requires such a cost. The environmental cost. Again, this is just for me trying to read up on as much as I can about how this stuff is actually working,
Yeah.
because that's who I am. I like to know how things work, including AI. The environmental cost of AI is large.
Yeah.
It is large.
I've read that. Mhm.
It takes a ton of power to create these things, and
Database centers. Yeah.
yeah, and I've been guilty of it too. When I first discovered AI, I was like, oh, this is super cool. I can have it spit out a graphic for me really quickly, or
Yep. Done that.
I can put a cat on my shoulder, or
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Then I started reading about the power cost of even those simple kinds of calculations, and it's like asking ChatGPT one question to get one response costs the amount of power that it takes to run a microwave for 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Which doesn't
Okay.
seem like a lot, but if everybody is doing this and all
All the time.
AI is getting integrated into everything right now,
Yeah.
it's like that is not sustainable.
No.
That's
and
a
usually
huge
it's
amount
not
of
just
power.
one question. It's
Right.
like the question and it's like a follow-up question. And then it's like, can you break this down into a chart? And then, or make this a blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
So that's the first part of it. I think that cost is too high to
Mm-hmm.
be paying consistently for anything you want to throw into AI.
Yeah.
Number two, I think it's also kind of unethical because to me there is a cost to art. What even is art, right? There are so many different definitions of it.
Yeah.
But to me, in its purest form, art is simply supposed to reveal the perspective of the creator.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to show somebody your perspective on life.
Right.
That is the purest form of art.
Right.
And I just don't see that happening with what
Yeah.
we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
like the argument can be made, oh yeah, well I'm prompting the AI in this way, and so
Yeah.
it is it's like, but you're not actually creating.
Right.
I think part of the problem for me really is this. It's we lost the plot with art. art has become something that is just like produced in a product, because it's so
Yes.
intricately tried with consumerism right now.
It's a deeper issue before AI even started.
Completely.
Yeah.
And I think AI is just revealing how
Showing it.
we are looking at art as a culture right now.
Yeah.
And
Streaming, right?
streaming. Yeah.
Streaming it was, I think, the beginning of the downward trend.
Yep. Yep.
And it's making music like invaluable.
Yeah.
Basically, or so accessible and so frictionless that it loses all of its value, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that it's just like, oh well, if I don't like it, I can skip it.
Yep.
And there's a trillion other options.
Totally, man. Yes, totally. Like,
Yeah.
and kind of like, I guess, a sub point to that second ethical point or whatever is really like, what even is music supposed to do? Like, what is this art form? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and the art form is connection,
Yeah.
right? It is just like any great art form.
Right.
It's like we're trying to connect. We're trying to connect in the creation of it.
Right.
What are recordings? They're captured moments of connection.
Right.
That's what a recording is.
Yep.
And AI music completely removes that relationship side of things to where it's just a finished product.
Right.
Now there is going to be some, I think, organic pushback to it that
Yeah.
I already see sort of happening. One of them is if you become a Suno musician or whatever we want to call this type of creator that's just using Suno or whatever, you literally don't have the ability to go and like sit in on a jam somewhere.
True.
You don't have the ability to play with other people
Yeah.
because you haven't put the time in to actually hone your craft,
Right.
And I think that's a huge loss.
A big loss.
Big loss. And it will keep you from the deeper meaning of what music actually is.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so, I just think it's I think it's a bummer.
Yeah. Let me jump
So,
in on that one
yeah,
real
please do.
quick because maybe I'm getting ahead of myself and maybe we'll just live here for a second. But I think like the thing that makes me not worried about this. All right. So we're going to, I've told my story, whatever. So I'm not too worried about AI taking my job because I think as long as musicians are still true to themselves, real musicians, what do they want to do? Play their instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they ever ask an AI or robot or whatever to do it for them?
Mm-hmm.
They got into doing that because they love doing it.
Right.
So why would they not? Why would they stop doing unless they just don't want to do it anymore? But then why would they be doing the AI thing anyway, right? So like I don't feel too worried from that perspective. There will always be true musicians that want to play and record their music themselves. They want to do it themselves because that's what they love and that's what is fun.
Totally.
They enjoy it.
Totally.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm not completely worried about losing a lot of business to it. Now, the story I told with the project that I'm working with, that is an example of where it is a little weird hybrid thing, right? I mean, he's still playing, but we're basically contracting the rest of it out to the AI, which I don't like. And, like I said, I probably one and done on this type of situation, and it's a weird gray area here. So yeah, maybe, listeners out there and running your studios, like maybe you'll encounter that and you might lose some projects to that. But at the end of the day, like, don't fret too much. Like, yes, AI is taking some jobs, but I don't think we have too much to worry about in the music industry.
I agree. And that's kind of twofold for me. One of them is, one side of that is that, there's going to be a moment, I think, where some industry jobs are going to suffer.
Yep.
And we are probably already seeing the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's wide scale or not, doesn't really matter. there will
Fair.
be some consequences on the business, like financial side of it.
Totally.
Like my story,
Yeah.
like getting replaced by AI.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is if you kind of look at the history of like art like this and new technologies in art, there's always a displacement. That always does happen. But there's something that's really freeing when a culture has been living on one side of the pendulum of like create art, get money.
Yeah.
When the pendulum swings to the other side and all of a sudden it's like, we don't need you, we don't need your art, we're not going to pay you to do this anymore. There's often a flourishing of artists that happens.
That's true.
I mean, this happened like in the Renaissance era.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And so I think there will be some form of AI renaissance or
Yeah.
whatever. Because, and I'll confess also, if I'm getting paid to do a project, my heart is absolutely in it. But
Yeah.
there is definitely a difference between that and just creating for me.
Right.
There's definitely a difference.
There is. It's a totally different thing. Like you're more, your passion is more aligned. You're in it for totally different reasons, and it makes a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. And the second part of it is at least where AI currently is at. I know you said like the tracks sound good and everything, but
Yeah.
There's still a ton to fix.
There is. It's
not
right.
perfect.
Right. And the guy I've been working with, he's like, imagine this in like a year. He's like, there won't even be these glitches or whatever anymore. And I'm like, great. So you won't need me at all. Awesome. Also,
Yes.
no, I mean, that's the thing. Like he's not gonna put it out with the AI vocal in there.
Mhm.
He wants his own vocal in there. So
Yeah.
there's still hope for him.
There's still hope, man. I know. Because
Um,
the artist I was working with, it's not even his voice. It's not even his
it's
voice.
full on.
It's full on.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard what you were saying earlier about like how it, sounded good or whatever. And I know, like, I think Rick Beato and maybe a few others have done like a shootout of like, can you actually tell something's AI generated?
Yeah.
And every single one of those that I've done, like, I can immediately tell.
Yeah. I said it sounded good, but I didn't say that I didn't know it.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to, and I mean, aside from hearing, you and I are different than probably most listeners because we've trained our ears over
Yeah.
years and years and years or whatever. But I can tell almost immediately because the music that AI is training off of is all like the compressed Spotify type stuff.
Yep.
And it's not learning from like mastered tracks yet. Maybe one day they will.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's like I can tell that sheen immediately.
Oh,
I can tell that there is no human component.
It has, that's a good word. It has like a top end sheen to it that you can really pick up on.
Yeah, it's got the streaming platform
Yeah.
compressed
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly. And especially the vocals. The
Oh, the
vocals are,
vocals.
as soon as the vocal kicks in, it's a dead giveaway. If I'm like half paying attention, as soon as that happens, like, oh, nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's not a human.
That's not it,
Mhm.
But yeah, and like, I don't know, man. It's a weird situation. Like, I think people are pushing back, but then it's like, of course, there's another group of people that are like, this is cool. I'm a musician now. And I wrote it's like, no, you're a poet
Yep.
that wrote some lyrics
Yep.
or a poem and put it into this and made a song out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
and I'm not saying anyone's doing that from like a malicious like standpoint. They're probably just having fun, but like
Right.
they need to know like when they're coming to me or you or like involving someone who's actually in this as their career that like it's not cool or like that's kind of stepping on several other people's toes
Mm-hmm.
by them doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the natural consequences of that, which I'm totally cool with, is they're not going to be touring.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to be, there's no way
Yeah.
for them to actually do the live music
Yeah.
component of it, which is a moneymaker.
Right. I mean, live music, there's really maybe there's some people that are incorporating some AI tracks being fired or triggered during there, but,
Mm-hmm.
probably not.
Yeah, but if you can't sing, no one's going to come out to hear you sing.
Right.
If you can't play guitar, no one's going to come out to hear you play guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's going to be a natural, there's
Break.
going to be a natural break there. There are tangible limitations to what AI is going to allow for.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Anything that is you as a human doing a human thing
Yeah.
is a limitation that AI has.
Totally. Totally.
So, which I think is a good thing.
It is a good
I
thing.
think it's a good thing. I just, I can't emphasize this enough. I mean, I guess if I had to summarize all of my thoughts together in one thing, I would just say I just want humans to express humanity.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what we're
maybe
here
I'm
for.
a simple man, but that's all I really want
Yeah.
out of this particular art form.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
really any art form.
Right.
That's all I want.
Just want to work with people and build a relationship or a connection and vibe over the same thing and, enjoy it together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And for that to happen, it needs to be a real thing that we're vibing over. Right.
Completely.
So, and something that we've created together or that they've created and I've enjoyed, whatever. And so now this is a weird one. I'm going to throw it off a little bit there. That's a really good summary, but check this out. So I have been talking or have heard some people say that they're using it as demos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's like, okay, on the surface, it's like, cool. So you're just doing that as a quick demo. That maybe that's just saving you time in your home studio. Fine. On the surface, that sounds fine. But there's people that are saying like, all right, I got this demo. And then they are showing that to the players or whatever. And they're like, basically like, here's the thing. Can you play this? And it's like, okay. So then they're basically making the session players just play exactly what was written on the AI demo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, ooh, that kind of takes away from the player's creativity.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
They're just wanting a human to recreate it.
Right.
Which is in a better direction than not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have a problem with that because then it's like you're not giving the person like much of a chance to create something better because you've fallen in love with this AI demo that you spit out in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I hear you, man. That's an interesting side of things.
it's a weird like middle ground there.
Yeah. And I mean, the argument can be made that, you could, I don't know, I could see the argument for somebody saying, okay, well, if I hire a pianist to play this Bach piece, I want it to be exactly what's written on the sheet.
Now, that's a good point. Like, are players hired to play something like without any type of improvisation? Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually in that type of manner. There's
Right.
a composer that has written it out on sheet music and they want it to be that way.
Right.
Or something in those lines.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a little bit different. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And now is that the same thing? Like,
I don't
where
know.
are we in this? It's a weird.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is
because
either.
who created the sheet music?
A real person,
A human.
probably.
A person.
At least right now.
At least right now.
We'll see what happens later.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky business.
It is.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we have some pretty strong opinions about this.
Yeah.
And before I was even affected by it, so to speak, from a work perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I started having yellow and red flags as I was reading about it, and whatever. And I don't want to hide the fact that I have. I mean, at this point, I think it's impossible for anybody who uses the internet to not have used AI in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
I am right now actively though focused on minimizing my interaction with AI.
Yeah.
I'm very focused on that.
You have to go out of your way now. Like,
do.
if you type in Google, you get an AI response.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, God, how many years have we defaulted to a Google search, right?
I know.
And it's like now you get an AI response that's scouring the internet, and a lot of times, like, they give you the answer you want.
They give it to you quick. They give it to you quick. Yeah.
And that's nice, but like, yeah, you have to download. I can't remember the name of it. I should know. Maybe I'll put it in the description of this video. But there's like a separate web browsing platform that does not use AI at all.
Nice. That's good
intentionally.
to know. Yeah, it's definitely good to know.
Yeah.
Well, there's AI.
There it is.
I don't know. That's our exposure. Those are our stories. Those are our thoughts.
Right.
So
yeah, the genie's out of the bottle. So we'll see. Maybe we'll revisit this one, and won't take long. A year.
Yeah, maybe we'll
now.
touch back and just be like,
Yeah.
this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, for me, I cannot get past the environmental cost of it right now.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's hefty, and so for me, that's a huge driving factor.
That's gonna need to change.
There are some tools that I think are well within the bounds of like this allows me to do my art better as far as
Yeah.
AI, which we didn't really even cover, but I don't think we need to.
Mhm.
But I'm still not comfortable using them because I'm like, what am I like? How much power am I consuming to just
Right.
like do something that I could manually do? It would just take me slightly longer,
Right.
you know? And
Totally.
it's like, I don't know. So
Yeah, I know. It's a weird gray area, slippery slope, like all those types of things. We're in the Wild West. It's
true, man.
it's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, cool.
thanks for sticking with us for a little bit of a longer episode, guys.
That's right.
We're gonna wrap it up. John, what you working on?
I'll tell you what I'm not working on.
Hey, found
Too
that
soon.
out.
It's too soon. I'm kidding.
Boom.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Let's see what I'm working on. Picked up an audiobook. So I'm doing a
Nice.
children's audiobook
Cool.
called Bok Bok.
Ah,
By the time, you know
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So by the time this episode comes out, the audiobook will be published out in the wild with the audiobook component. And it's been cool because I'm getting to do a lot of sound design with it too.
Nice.
So there are components where it's like, Bok Bok is this, he's a chicken who lives on a farm and winds up moving to New York City. It's a really cute children's book.
No.
And anyway, and then, so like he's a pianist, who plays Bach pieces.
Yeah.
And hence the name Bok Bok.
Aha.
So,
Very clever.
yeah. So I'm adding in some Bach piano recordings. I'm adding in some sound effects for like barn noises and different things. And it's been a fun project. And I really like the author a lot. He's a friend and
Yeah.
he does really, really good work.
Cool. That's
So-
great. That's
So yeah,
great.
look for Bok Bok. If you have kids, it's a cute story.
Check out old Bok Bok.
That's right.
Nice.
What about you?
Yeah. So coincidentally, I'm working on an audiobook as well.
Nice.
It's it's the story of this is kind of cool. I don't know if I should say. Nah, it's coming out. She used to work for the CIA, so she was a spy. And it's like her story as like being a spy, being like a wife and a mother all at the same time, and like her during that period of her life, like how wild that was trying to balance all of those things. And it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Very
that's cool.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice. So she's like tracking in the studio.
yeah.
Cool,
So
cool.
she's here in the studio, and she wrote it, self, author or autobiography or whatever, and she's narrating it herself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
So hey, we got that in common.
We got that going on.
That's what's up.
Yep.
Well, cool. Well, thanks everyone, especially if you hung with us on this longer episode. I hope you took something from it. It's a wild world out there with AI, and leave us a comment. Like, let us know, are you experiencing this in your, audio path? Are you, working with anybody that's using it? Are you using it yourself? Are there some ways that we may have overlooked that, maybe we should take heed and look into? Let us know what's going on your end.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you totally disagree with everything we just said, I mean, we want to hear that too.
Yeah.
We're all about hearing different perspectives on things. So,
Exactly,
I mean,
like-
that's,
Yeah.
which is a part of making good art,
That's right. We're
hearing
just
different perspectives.
sharing our insights here. So, yeah, reach out to us. Give us a like, subscribe if you're not already. And until next time,
Study the path.
steady the path.